Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. The river is deep and the river is wide. Hallelujah.
Hey guys, hey. Well, I'm with Graham, and we're at Bryant Park here. We got a raft, and Graham is getting ready to go out a little bit in the water here. But we're excited to be back with you again for another Sunday school. We hope you all are doing well and staying cool in this hot weather. We want to wish a special happy birthday to Leo and Rory, who are turning 2 this week. So would you all join with me in singing happy birthday to Leo and Rory? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leo and Rory. Happy birthday to you. Well, Leo and Rory, we hope you have a wonderful birthday this week. Congratulations on turning 2. That's a lot of fun. And we just know that we love you. We also want to say thank you to Lily and Jolene for doing an awesome job with communion this last week, and thanks to Sophia for doing communion this week. We know some of you are heading out to camp this week, and we know some of you are on a road trip and some trips with your family. So we hope you all are having a great time. Today's story is about Paul's final journey, and this one is from Caesarea. Caesarea, which is now a coastal city in Israel, to Rome. And leading up to today's story, Paul had lived for 2 years under arrest. That would have been hard, I bet. But with great freedom, when he is summoned to the new Roman governor. To prepare for the quiz today, we want you to pause the video and read Acts 24, verse 27, Acts 25, 1 through 12, and Acts 27, 1 through 7. Again, we hope you all are doing well. We miss you. We love you. And if there's anything we can do for any of you, let us know. All right, let's head on in and see your pictures and the winning images for the New Testament Hall of Fame. Your votes are in. Here's the winning images for the New Testament Hall of Fame, as well as other pictures from you this week. Here's our first New Testament Hall of Fame image. That's a great selection. Here's our second New Testament Hall of Fame image. Another great selection. Here's our third New Testament Hall of Fame picture, Paul writing one of the letters. All three great selections. Our musical guests today are Paul and Mary Pritchard. There are also several other mystery musical guests. You'll have to wait and see. We want to say thanks for doing communion last week to Lily and Jolene. We want to say thanks for doing communion this week to Sophia. And we want to say thanks for doing communion for worship to Chinawa and Kipway. Great job to all of you. Things you all have been doing this week. Some of you have been working in your garden. Some of you went on a road trip. Some of you have been going to summer camp. Some of you went to church camp. And some of you celebrated your second birthday. Happy birthday, Leo and Rory. Well, thanks for sharing. And today will be our last time singing the books of the New Testament song. So before you start, maybe pause and see if you can say all the books of the New Testament. You got them all memorized from the song. Well, let's go sing it for the last time. All right.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts, and next is Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians and Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus and Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, and Revelation.
Hi, we're Paul and Mary at Pritchard, come back again. Today's song is Michael, Row the Boat Ashore. Now this started out as during the Civil War as a former slave song, and it's been renewed back in the 50s and 60s by many folk singers. We used to sing it in church. It also talks about perhaps Jesus being baptized, and it refers to going across the boundary into the promised land. So we're going to sing it for you as a lot of the folk singers used to sing it. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. The river is deep and the river is wide, hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side, hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail, hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail, hallelujah. Brother, lend a helping hand, hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah.
Here is this week's quiz. Question 1. What is the name of the new governor who summoned Paul? Is it A, Frederick, B, Festus, or C, Fruman? Announce your answer. The correct answer is B, Festus. What was the name of the Roman centurion who put in charge of Paul and all the other prisoners on the voyage? Was it A, Julius, B, John, or C, Jasper? Your answer? The correct answer is A, Julius. Last question. In what port town did Paul change ships? Was it A, Malta, B, Mytilene, or C, Myra? Your answer? The correct answer is C, Myra. Thanks for taking the quiz. Today's story, Shipwreck and To Rome at Last, are based on Acts, the book of Acts, and the book of Timothy, as retold by Murray Watts in The Bible for Children from Good Books. We're going to show 10 images. Pick your favorite for the New Testament Hall of Fame. Shipwreck. When a new Roman governor arrived in Caesarea, Paul's enemies in Jerusalem seized their opportunity. They sent messengers demanding that Paul be tried and punished in Jerusalem. They expected to see him crucified like Jesus. Festus, the new governor, summoned Paul. "Are you prepared to stand trial before me in Jerusalem?" he asked. "No," said Paul. "How can I have a fair trial in Jerusalem when the charges against me are lies? I appeal to the judgment of Caesar in Rome." "Caesar?" Paul nodded. Festus was astonished at his fearlessness, but he simply said, "You have appealed to Caesar, and to Caesar you will go." Paul was determined to go to Rome. He had survived imprisonment, beatings, stoning, shipwrecks, cold and hunger over many years. Now he was ready to face his last journey by land and sea, and he knew that God was with him. Luke and other friends of Paul decided to travel with him. A Roman centurion named Julius was put in charge of all the prisoners on the voyage, and so they set sail. The ship made its way up the coast and across Cyprus. The wind was against them all the way. In Myra, they boarded a grain ship bound for Italy. Clouds rolled across the sky and powerful headwinds began to blow. By the time they reached a port on the southern shores of Crete, Paul, who was an experienced sailor, knew they were all in great danger. He spoke to Julius and to the commander of the ship. "Friends," he said politely, "this voyage is becoming too dangerous. If we carry on, we will not only lose our cargo, but many lives as well." Julius ignored Paul's advice, listening only to the captain of the ship and the ship's owner, who were both determined to reach the port of Phoenix, further along the coast. As soon as they put to sea once more, a violent gale burst upon the ship from across the island. The boat was hurled up and down on mountainous waves. The sky darkened, and no one could see the sun or the stars for many days. Everyone, the ship's crew, the soldiers, the prisoners, all the passengers, everyone except Paul, began to fear for their lives. In desperation, the crew threw the heaviest cargo overboard. Then they began to throw the ship's tackle away, but it made no difference. "We'll all drown," they cried out as the biting winds and driving rains beat down upon the little ship, threatening to break it into pieces. At last, Paul stood up again. "Friends," he said, shouting above the wind, "why didn't you listen to me? You would have been saved from this terrible trouble." Everyone was silent because they knew that Paul had been right all along. "Keep courage," he said. "No one is going to die. An angel of God stood beside me last night and said, 'Don't be afraid, Paul, for you will certainly stand before Caesar in Rome. Everyone sailing with you will be safe.'" All the crew, the soldiers, prisoners, and passengers listened as Paul lifted his hands up high. "Courage, everyone. God will do what he has promised. But we will be stranded on an island for some time." The fierce storm continued for days. The wind howled and threw the boat from side to side, but Paul said, "Stay calm. Everyone must take some food. We will reach dry land soon." The people ate hungrily to gain strength. At last land appeared through the mists and the storms, a bay with a sandy beach. Suddenly, the ship ran aground with a huge crash, and the vessel began to break up. The soldiers began to panic, shouting, "We must kill all the prisoners before they escape to shore." "No," shouted Julius. "Paul must be delivered safely to Rome. Do not harm a single prisoner." So it was that, clutching driftwood, planks, and pieces of wreckage, some floating, some swimming, every single person, 276 people in all, arrived on the beach safe and sound.
To Rome at last. Battered by the storms, exhausted and terrified, the passengers staggered up the beach. As the local people began to arrive offering friendship and help, the shipwrecked passengers discovered that they had arrived on the island of Malta. During his stay on the island, Paul was able to speak about the love and power of Jesus and to heal many people. At last, after 3 months, Paul, Luke, his other companions, and fellow prisoners were taken on another ship to Puteoli, a port in Italy. From there, under guard, Paul journeyed to Rome. He was full of joy and quite unafraid. He knew that God had been with him all the way and would remain with him to the end. Paul lived like a free man for a long time in Rome while awaiting his trial. And again, he spoke about Jesus to every Jew and Gentile that he met. Paul may well have been among those who were persecuted by the Emperor Nero. The emperor began to hate the Christians in Rome, blaming them for a great fire which destroyed much of the city. Many thousands were thrown to the lions, burned at the stake, or executed by the sword. Paul knew that he was going to die, and in his last letter from a prison in Rome, he wrote these inspiring words. "It is time for me to leave this earth. I have fought the good fight to the very end. I have finished the race. Now there is waiting for me in heaven a crown of righteousness which the Lord, the only true judge, will give to me on that final day, and not only to me, but to everyone who longs for his coming." Greetings, friends. Today's activity is going to be bingo with the 27 books of the New Testament, because we've been singing a song for quite a long time about the books in the New Testament. So in your packet, you're going to get 5 sheets of paper that say bingo on the top. One of them is color, and that's the one I want you to cut apart, and I've already started cutting this one. And you're going to cut it into little squares that are already marked. If you don't have a paper cutter, you can just cut it with scissors. So you'll have 9 of these squares. And you need to recruit some members of your family to play this game with you. If you'll remember, we played bingo Old Testament with the 10 Commandments way back in probably October. Seems like a long time ago now. So you've got a stack of the colored squares with the books of the Bible on it. Kind of turn that over, that becomes your stack. Your players each get a different card, okay? And you also have these little triangles. So, little sample of how to do it. You're going to flip over a card. Anyone that has 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, Titus, and Philemon, you put a little triangle on that spot. So, if you remember, what you're shooting for is being able to get 3 across, or on the diagonal, or up and down. So, somebody needs to be the caller, or you could take turns. Usually there's a bingo caller, but you could do it where you each took a turn flipping over one of the cards, or having one person designated to do that. Now, bingo is usually played for a prize, so I'm leaving that up to you. Maybe the prize is you do something for somebody, like the person who wins the game gets to say, hey, somebody else make my bed, or something like that. I'm going to let you figure out the prizes, but maybe they can be service prizes, helping each other. So, this week's activity, bingo, New Testament. Now it's time for communion.
As Jesus gathered with his disciples, he took the bread and broke it, and blessed it, and said, "This is my body broken for you." He took the cup and poured the juice, and said, "This is my blood poured out for me. Do this in remembrance of me."
Well, we've had a story about a shipwreck today, and we had a song, Michael Row the Boat Ashore. So while we're on this theme of rowing, let's row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. And you notice I went out, I got a life jacket. They're really important. This one I borrowed from the Albany Fire Department, and if you need a life jacket, they have them to loan out. Any fire department in the Mid-Valley will loan them out. And I say they're important because when I was a little boy, when I was 5 years old, we were at Lake Tahoe. My parents were sunbathing on the beach. My sister was somewhere else. I was on a little float paddling out to this big raft. And I wasn't a very good swimmer at that point. I was just learning how to swim. I couldn't even tread water. And I fell off that float and I started sinking. I went right to the bottom. And then I felt this hand. And a little girl, probably when I got to the shore, I figured she was 10 or 12 years old. She pulled me up and she held on to me and she took me to shore. She saved my life. These will save your life. So if you're on any water, you're in a kayak, canoe, any kind of boat, if you are just learning to swim and you don't have a lot of confidence, wear it when you get into the water. Very important. Okay. So the next 4 weeks, Eric and Morgan are going to lead the Sunday School videos and have a great fun time with them. And we'll be back on September 13th when we start our Old Testament Odyssey. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm sure glad Graham's adventures on the high seas turned out better than Paul's. And usually at this time I'll say, see you next Sunday, but this time I'm going to say, see you in September. Bye-bye.
Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. The river is deep and the river is wide. Hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail. Hallelujah. Sister, help to trim the sail. Hallelujah. Brother, lend a helping hand. Hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah.